hopping and a bopping and a singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin.
Hey guys, Andrea here. Wow. Hey, how you guys doing? How about another flip through? I've got a ton of pages done, and the last time I shared, it had been a while, so we did 12 weeks worth of pages. We did all of this that we went through together, and I'm throwing things off my album. So I had to stop at some point, or that thing was going to be like 2 hours long. So now we are at week 13, and I was pretty much rockin' and rollin' when I was working on this page, and it was really fun using a really pretty cool color scheme. But also something that I did differently was, oh my gosh, I didn't put the weekly title card in the top left corner. Oh my gosh, it's in the middle. It's craziness. I know. So this was super fun. Another layout for Gossamer Blue, and the color scheme, as you can see, is 2 different shades of blue, pinks and reds, shades of pinks and reds, and lime green, which was fun to use. And it fit so perfectly because really when you look at grass, I mean, it's kind of limeish. It's got a lot of light and dark contrast. So it ended up working out really well. And this was fun. So I don't think there's anything else other than a couple of things that I did to just help out with the flow was keeping a couple of pieces just very simple because there was some busyness happening within the photos and some embellishments. So I just wanted to make sure that it had a good balance. Oh yeah, and then this. Sarcasm is my first language. Cursing is a close second. That card, it screams Tracy Reed, and she designed that for Gossamer Blue, and it's so true. It's so true. And I was feeling like that, and there's this blah 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 stamp that we have from one of the kits, and it was just that kind of day. So it was perfect. And okay, we're gonna move on to, oh, so this is the same week, but it's the weekend. I wanted to do a separate page for this time that we went to the park. So we took a couple of hours and went to our neighborhood park, and we played basketball and we played baseball, and the kids, well, you know, the kids played, but we just had a good time, and there was a lot of pictures that I wanted to get in the layout. So I used it kind of as some freedom because I don't know, the colors are kind of neutral, right? So, I mean, there's some blue and there's some reds and pink. So I just took the freedom and kind of did a black and white, red or pink and green, blue, kind of just found colors that felt like they went and that were simple. So I didn't go over embellish this one. I used kind of bigger embellishments and not little tiny embellishments. That way, I don't know, I felt like it balanced it out a little better because, again, photos are kind of busy. So when that happens, I usually just try to take it easy on the embellishments so that you're really focused either, you know, on the photos or just kind of the flow of the layout. And the next layout is Easter. So just the following day. So still the same week. And I did use some of the fun Easter cards from the Gossamer Blue kit from March. I'd been hanging on to them. And then I did do a couple of different photo styles because I knew I wanted to use this Easter wood veneer. And I had taken a few different shots of this you know, pile of opened Easter eggs. And I took one that was, what am I trying to say? Why am I having such a hard time talking today? I took one photo of them very detailed, so in focus. And then I took another where they were out of focus because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use. But turns out that it was much more fun to use the one that was out of focus. So I just made it real simple and put the Easter wood veneer right there on top. And then I just filled this in with some older, some not Easter themed cards, and felt like that worked pretty well, and was able to just get this page completed. This is going to be left blank for now, and it will get filled in like I tell you guys in some of my other videos. When I leave blank pages, it's an opportunity for me to use filler cards that don't get used, that have been kind of sitting in my stash, and it allows me to just, sometimes when my creativity is low and maybe I don't have a photo or anything that's super inspiring at the moment, I will take one of the blank pages and find one card that I really, really love from my stash, and I'll just go for it and just kind of work around and just make a photo list layout. So that is what I'll do with some of these when I get to those points. This is a day in the life, which I have already done a full flip through video for, so go ahead and check that out. I'm not going to go through it all today. We're going to move on. So this would have been the same week of the previous week. It's just, this is where it fell in my album because I wanted to be able to have another full layout on the other side of this pocket page. So, or not pocket page, but this 12 by 12 page. This is a layout that I did for One Little Bird. I was a guest designer for them in May, and if you want some more details about this page or where you can get her stuff, I will link to it in the description of the video. And then I'll also link you to the blog posts, because I did 3 layouts for that guest post. But this one is just so much fun. So I did a grid using the cards because I knew I wanted to make a full layout. I didn't want to make a pocket page, but I needed to use these pocket cards because they were just so fun. So I threw them down sort of as background, and then I used a bunch of the elements in sort of a collage-y kind of thing, and then I told the story with some different alphas up here. And then to pull it in, I cut, using my tab punch, I cut a divider tab out of one of the cards that came with the kit. It was a cute yellow and white stripe. It was very cute. I'm actually at this point really sad that I did that because I keep looking at the card with the punch out of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't use this. So I'll need to reprint that. And that's what I love also about hybrid kits. Oh my gosh, is you can just print them as many times as you want. It's not like regular kits that you buy where, or kit clubs where it's an exclusive and that's it. Once you use it, you don't have it anymore. That's what I love about digital stuff too. This other side is another layout that I did for Gossamer Blue. This uses a bunch of these cool acetate words that the letters are all attached, and it was just fun to be able to use this big picture of a cupcake, because this is really how I feel about this cupcake right here. Awesome, extra special, sweet, love. And then this was a 3x4 card from one of the Gossamer Blue kits, and I just cut it and made it a 2x2. May actually be a little taller than 2, but because that's really honestly how I felt about this photo and this cupcake. It was a lemon cupcake, which was super good. Okay, another blank spot because I needed this next week to be a full spread. So this is also one that I did for One Little Bird using her kit called Agenda, which is perfect for doing a weekly spread. It has this week in review where you can write in all of the dates for the week, and I basically just did like a little bullet journal of every little thing that happened, which was awesome, or every big thing, because we did have some big things going on, and it was really so much fun to use these colors. It just so happened that I did have a lot of black and white photos for the week, and that turned out to be super helpful. So yeah, another couple of different things that I like to do is to do layering with some of the elements, and then I like to stamp across them. So just kind of making it feel like it's all one piece is something that I like to do as well. And then also I made this weekly title card, super simple. And just, this is one of her elements. It says this week and it's outlined in black. And then I just used a little 1 and a 4 numeric sticker to just denote the week. I didn't want to take away from the photo itself. All right. Oh, and I used my typewriter. I'm really having fun using my typewriter to do some journaling. And it was just a good spot because there was a lot of dark going on. There's a lot of dark. The photos are heavy and the colors are heavy. So any chance I got to just use something simple on white, I did. So I just made it real simple, Coke bottles and sunshine. So that helped balance out that layout too. Oh, this was super fun. So you may have noticed that sometimes I like to use big photos and I like to chop them up. I have a tutorial for that. Check out my YouTube channel. You will see how to cut up your photos so that they all fit in the pockets. So this is just one spread about us going out to dinner one evening. And I did have a lot of photos because diners like this are really fun for me. They've got that 50s vibe and I'm totally digging that. So I usually take a lot of pictures and we had a good time. And the boys let me take pictures of them and it was really fun. So, and Marshall was so cute. He wanted to be the waiter. Actually, before we left the house, he decided he wanted to bring his index card and his pencil because he wanted to take notes while we were there. He wanted to give the restaurant a review. So he took notes while we were there, but not only that, he actually pretended to be a waiter. So he came over with his pad and pencil and asked us if he could take our order. He was very sweet. So I noticed that he was at the start of his shift very happy, and then he ended up being quite discouraged toward the end of his shift. So it was kind of a funny little before and after. And then he did write some things and left it for the waitress, which was really cute. And so before he left it there, I made sure to take a picture so I knew, you know, what kinds of things he said. Very funny little kid I have there. Okay, moving on. Week 15. Oh my gosh, this week was so much fun. I don't know why. I think it's the colors that I love so much about this layout. I'm totally loving the pink and this like light colored teal. It's a turquoise, I guess, you know, but it's got that softer, lighter color, and I really just wanted to use it on everything, but I refrained. But this uses a combination of so many different products. So there's products from One Little Bird. There are older products from Gossamer Blue. There are products from Simple Stories, and just a ton of stuff. But so really, because this page was not done for any design team specifically, I took the freedom and just used things that matched. I mean, I always try to use things that match, but usually I'm trying to use things from a specific kit, or, you know, obviously being on design teams, you use their products. So this one, maybe, and I don't know, I doubt that that's why I feel so lovely about this, but I just had fun. The colors are really, really great. And I think too that it's a lighter colored layout. So my photos weren't super dark, and that really helps. My eye is drawn to the lighter, but I do like to use a lot of contrast. So yeah, I just was feeling like the super simple layout here with really fun, fresh colors. Week 16 is a real mix of stuff. I didn't necessarily struggle with this layout, but because the colors were kind of odd, like I've got, you know, this pillow that was like left over from Christmas time. I never took this pillowcase off. And then just kind of the darker, weirder color blues. So it's not, things weren't super cohesive, but they were neutral enough that I could use, you know, a card like this that kind of had a bunch of colors in it, and then just kind of spread those colors around. So that is what I did here. And what else should I tell you? Oh, so this, these alphas did not, if I remember correctly, did not come with numbers. They were just letters. So I used a G and then kind of cut it and then used and like maneuvered the piece down so that it looked more like a 6. And then this was I think it was an I, so I chopped the side off to make it look more like a 1. So I will manipulate things to get what I want out of my scrapbook supplies. So don't ever feel afraid to just make them exactly what you want. I think that's all. Sometimes too, just something really easy is just stamping in the negative space of your photo. And I've been trying to do a better job of this lately, of how I'm framing my shots so that I can have room for journaling or a small, little tag there or something. So trying to be a little more thoughtful of that. Like there's a lot of open space here. I could have put something here. I chose not to, but just think about that too when you're taking photos, is that not everything needs to be straight on. Give yourself some room for maybe some journaling or some embellishments. Okay, so this, oh my gosh, such a fun page, such a fun page. One of the things I really like to do is challenge myself to just stick with 2 colors. So here I actually ended up going 3 colors, but one thing that's getting a little more easy for me, but something that's kind of a challenge, is using different shades of a color when it's not the same color. So like you'll see that there's a lot of different shades of green. There's kind of a dark green, and then there's kind of a lime green, and then kind of a lighter green, and then the yellows too. There's like bright yellow and then a little softer yellow, and so but it just goes together. It just works so well. So once I started playing with the different shades of this same green and different lighter shades of the blue and pulling the yellows in, it really turned out to be such a fun page. This is probably one of my favorite pages that I've done this year. I love challenging myself. It obviously I start with photos, so I knew I had neutral, and I knew I had green, and I knew I had yellow and blue. So I wasn't originally going to use any blue supplies, but my shirt was feeling, with the shirt being over here, it really felt like there wasn't anything else to balance it out. All that stood out to me at that point was the blue shirt, because it was kind of just all by itself. So then pulling in a blue label here and putting one of these blue acetate words here just made it all feel like it fit together, and it didn't stick out like a sore thumb. So something to keep in mind too when you're working on your pages. And another full page with a big photo. I had this really pretty photo. My husband and I walked around downtown one night, and it had really rained earlier in the day, so the streets were all wet, and it was dusk, and the sun was coming in, the clouds were beautiful. It was just a really fun picture, so I knew I wanted to get that real big. And then I just used some other random photos that kind of felt like they would have fit in with this photo. We have a really fun little downtown that we do not explore often enough. So that's part of my journaling there too. Week 18. This was a different color scheme for me. These colors are not bright. They are very dull colors, which normally isn't what I'm used to working with, but I loved the different colors in some of these vintagey cards that we got in the Gossamer Blue kit for May. So I really took advantage of having some fairly neutral photos this week. So I had a black and white photo, actually a couple of black and white photos, and Marshall's face, there's not a lot of color going on here. This is really neutral. I did have some color in these photos, but just a little. So I used green, and I used kind of some lighter, like pinky red kind of colors, and thought, okay, let me just find something that's got some of that going on. And then pulling in this gold color and different kinds of greens, like that turquoisey kind of. So these, you know, these don't necessarily match exactly, but they certainly go together. So that was something that is fun when you're searching through your stash and you're like, oh, well, this color is kind of similar. Let me see how it looks. And when you don't put them right next to each other, they totally look like they go. So this was a really fun one. And again, put this through my typewriter again. And I really love that it's not super straight down the middle. It's hard to see. I don't know how to get my typewriter to, so when I start to type, the ribbon lifts up and then it covers up my words. So when I then take it back to the beginning, I'm not 100% sure where it starts because I can't see, and I don't start my I don't put my paper all the way up against the far left edge of the typewriter, so it's kind of just in the middle and random. So, but I love the way it turns out when I do that. So, just some simple stuff, and used some vintagey kind of elements just because I felt like it was that kind of layout. It kind of called for it. Oh, and then this card right here is from Allie Edwards. It actually was from the Day in the Life kit that I didn't use, and it was just so perfect because I'm not using a whole lot of stark white papers, so a lot of creams, and this one was so perfect because I had these two 2x2 photos of Marshall and I, and had I not found this while looking through my stash, I would have just chosen one of these, and I wouldn't have chosen both of them, and probably would have just made a quick little 4x6 with one of them, or maybe even ended up with just one of them in these 3x4s, and this turned out to be so fun. It was absolutely perfect. So, and I just used a couple of different stamps from Gossamer Blue here to just kind of talk about those two photos. Week 19, I just recently shared this layout on Instagram and my Facebook, crafty Facebook page. This was so much fun. Again, I didn't do this for a design team, so I was able to really go through my stash and pick out some older things. So a couple of things that are super old from my stash is this favorite songs this week. I downloaded, I can't remember if I bought it or if it was a freebie, but it was a whole set of cards like this, and they say favorite songs, favorite shows, favorite meals, and I have just hung on to them because they are so perfect for journaling. So for this one, I wrote down all of my favorite songs that I'd been listening to, and I have played these songs out, but that's what I do, and they make me the happiest at the moment. So I have, I am a Spotify freak, so I have tons of playlists for themes, different moods, different, I love making playlists. And I have been making these right now playlists for each season since like 2013. So these songs are for my most favorites from what I'm listening to from my right now spring 2016 playlist. So hey, if you are on Spotify and you want some cool fun playlists, feel free to follow me. I think you might be able to find me by retrohipmama, but it might be my first and last name, Andrea Gray. So you might find me there. You can follow any of my playlists. They're all public, so nothing to hide when it comes to music. And then the other things that are old are these date cards. Again, it's kind of this around the same time when I was doing a lot of hybrid stuff, and so I was always on the lookout for hybrid pocket cards and freebie pocket cards. And these have been amazing. They're a different color for each day, and so it really kind of has to work out that the color that you want matches with the date that you want. So when it works out, I go for it, and I love to use those, and I'm running low, so I'm gonna have to go back to my old stuff and find out how I can reprint them because I'm not exactly sure where they live right now. Another one of my favorite things that we got in one of the newest Gossamer Blue kits is this label stamp. So if I'm editing this and I can't see it very well to show you, I will zoom in. So it is a label stamp, so it's got the little dark strip on the top, it's got the outline, and then the two little lines like your regular kind of, you know, office labels. And if it's a stamp, which means you can stamp these and make labels for any color. They're so rad. This has become one of my favorite stamps. And so Gibson and I had gone to Starbucks. I got him a treat, when we were out running errands one day. So they were both just sitting in the cup holder. I thought, oh, that's really cute. So what I did was I just notated what the drinks were because, you know, I have a new drink that I like and he has been drinking this forever, but he might change, you know, sometimes. So I want to make sure I document, you know, kind of what things are going on. A couple of different cards from the Allie Edwards Spark kit. So I took advantage of her revisited sale and got a couple of her old story kits, and those have been really fun to use. I also screenshot a Fandango ticket for when we went to go see Civil War. So those are kind of fun things because I know that's going to change. You know, the way that we get into the movies is different now than it was even, you know, 5 years ago. So these are the kinds of things that I like to document when, you know, just about our lives. So, what else can I tell you about this? I think that's it. Those were my favorite parts. And then, you know, text screenshots are pretty much make it into my into my album regularly these days. This is week number 20, and I realized yesterday actually when I finished this layout that I never anywhere on here put the week number, but I did highlight the week duration, which is great. So this is a really fun card I've been hanging on obviously since the May kit, but I love it because it's got the date. All I did was just do a watercolor. I actually stamped a little bit of my stamp pad. No, I used a brush pen, a pink brush pen, and I put some, like I colored onto my acrylic block, and then I used my water brush pen to lighten it up, and then I just kind of scribbled all over the letters or the numbers. So that was really easy. And then because it felt really busy with the lines and all the numbers, I made the date stand out by putting them in a different color that coordinated here, and then wrote the text in black. And this is basically just so that I didn't have to journal on each of these photos. I just kind of made a list of the things that are represented in this week. And that's I think something that I do a lot. I don't necessarily feel like every photo needs to have something on it, and sometimes when I have a lot of photos like this, I don't have a lot of room for that. So that's one way of getting it all in there. And then one more thing that I will show you is my third layout that I did for One Little Bird. And this was such a fun page. Oh my gosh, this is another one of those pages where you're using just a couple of colors, and everything from here is from her kit called Milestone, except for this ampersand and those little glasses. So I just had fun trying to figure out how to make it balanced and include both boys and their milestones, because we had experienced quite the milestones for both of them all in 1 week. So my oldest son got braces and my youngest son got glasses, and so she had these before and after little arrow flag thingies, banners, what do you call these? I don't know, arrows. And so instead of using before and after, it felt really repetitive, so I just chose one to be a before and one to be an after, so that it didn't feel like there was too much red together, so I could spread that out a little bit. And I just love Peppermint's designs. They're so easy to use. Every time I use her stuff, I'm just blown away by how fun and easy the pages come together. So I absolutely adore using her stuff, and I'm so grateful that I was able to be a guest on her blog. So again, I'll link to that so you can see those in greater detail. So that is it. That is actually all I have to share with you. That's it. So I will link some stuff down below so that you can have some more information, and I guess I'll see you guys next time I have a good chunk of stuff, and let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, we'll talk, say hi. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
and the Oreo. He rocks in the treetop all the day long, hopping and a popping and a singing his song.